Welcome to Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison.
I'm Molly, a former skeptic turned full-time energy healer and teacher.
And I'm Madison, a born and raised witch running my family's crystal shop.
And we're here to explore all things woo through the lens of both science and spirituality so that you can find the moments of magic in your everyday life and create an intentional spiritual practice.
So if that's what you're into, find a cozy spot, take a deep breath, and let's demystify some magic. Howdy doody, friends.
Howdy doody, friends.
It is the best time of the year. This is an episode that mostly I have been dying for since last year.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about Samhain today.
Yep. We talked about it briefly last year in a combination of like eclipse, Mercury retrograde, Samhain, I think was like all kind of bundled up together.
Not this year, baby. This year, Samhain gets her own motherfucking episode.
And like we said last year, if you're like, what the fuck is Samhain? I thought this episode was about Samhain.
You're not alone.
That's how Samhain's spelled.
Mm-hmm. Don't ask us, ask the Irish.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how words are pronounced. And that, but Samhain looks like Samhain, Samhain.
Samhain.
But before we get into all of that, Molly, what was your magic moment this week?
I baked the best pumpkin bread I've ever had. I don't even like pumpkin that much.
Blasphemous to say on spooky season episode.
I baked a whole ass bread. I'm more of like an apple crisp girly. I'm more of like an apple.
I'll allow it.
Apple cider girly. But so Magic Hour sends like a newsletter and they sent a pumpkin bread recipe that you can use like their fireside chai with. And I have a big old bottle of their fireside chai. So I was like, hell yeah, I'll try this. It was so good. So good. I like can't stop thinking about it. I have half a loaf downstairs. I ended up making a second one and filming a YouTube tutorial because it was that good. It was so good. So we'll link that in the show notes. But I was very proud because A, I can't bake. B, I've never baked anything gluten-free. C, I've never baked anything that didn't come in a box. I've never baked with tea.
Really?
And it was fucking delicious. It was so good.
Wow, I'm so happy for you. I need to place a fall-time Magic Hour order.
Make sure you use code Molly11 at checkout to save 11%.
You know I already have, so I can't use it anymore.
Yeah, you can.
You can use it multiple times?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I know.
Never
no
mind.
Limit.
11%
No minimum.
off, here I come. Fireside
There you
chai,
go.
you're coming home with me.
We'll leave a link down there. What was your magic moment?
Okay, a peek behind the curtain is that we are filming this episode on the same day that we filmed last week's episode. So
We're trying to get ahead.
we're going to talk about the hurricane again. I get it. You're overhearing about it. By now, everybody else has moved on. I get it. Whatever. We're still thinking about it here in Florida. But now that I've talked about all of the sappy stuff about how I feel about the hurricane, I can tell you how I was a fucking witch through all of it. And
Yeah,
I'm really
you
proud
were.
of myself. Okay, so I have two distinct stories. One, you might have seen, I posted this on our Instagram story, but if not, I'll post it again. I'll make an actual post about it. So one thing about hurricanes is that the second there's one on the horizon, everybody's out of everything. And so by the time that we knew that the hurricane was coming, and was going to land close to home, there was no plywood left to be found to board our windows at Spellcrafter.
Big windows.
Big windows. Drew was trying to get his friend works in windows and doors. I don't really know how that works, but whatever. So we were on the phone with him and we're FaceTiming him as I'm measuring the windows. He goes, "That's going to be a lot of plywood. I'll do my best." And we weren't able to get any. So we were okay, we're living on a prayer here. So Anthony and I, before we left, a few days before the hurricane, when we were closing down, we did a circle around the store in black salt that he made, crushed eggshells, and then we went across the whole huge window pane and drew runes and pentacles all over it in vanishing oil. Okay? And in the moment, I was okay, this is self-soothing. This is making me feel better. And so, I'm glad that we're doing this, right? And if I come back and the windows are destroyed, we'll get through it. It'll be okay. This is what insurance is for. You know, I'm like talking myself off the ledge as I'm drawing these pentacles on the glass. And when I came back, when I was like, when the roads were accessible after the hurricane and I could get to the store from my house, I shit you not, the debris, like tree limbs, leaves, like branches, everything. All right. It's all in the parking lot in a line 4 feet from the door, as if it met a brick wall.
Amazing.
It was wild. Drew made the very good point that it could be how the wind moves things.
Nope. It's because you're a witch.
But then I even think about it and I'm like, okay, even if it is the fact that the building is placed just so that the wind whips the debris around, that is its own form of magic.
Yeah.
Okay. That's number one, right? Bonkers. Highlight of my life. I've never been so happy to walk into a building that had no power as I was.
You're like, I'm going to start making this black salt with eggshells to sell in the store.
Yeah, literally. The price of banishing oil is going up, baby. It's not really. It's not really. I would never do you guys like that. Oh, she's crying. Okay, but then... Okay, so we've solidified that I'm a hurricane witch, right? Like my power becomes its most potent in a hurricane. So last night, there's no power at my house for a week. And today's Monday. It was projected in my county. It was like everybody will have power by Tuesday at 11:59 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Last night, Molly and I are texting whatever about what we're going to do about recording because obviously no power means no podcasting. And I text her and I'm like, I'm going to have power tomorrow. I just know it. I feel it in my bones. Like, my power will be on. And so we can cross that bridge when we get there if we need to change the day of recording. But I'm going to have power when I wake up, and we're going to be able to record at our normal time. And at 12:30 in the morning, I got a notification from my Nest cameras. And that is how I knew my power was on.
Yeah.
And so we were able to get ahead rather than having to reschedule because I'm a hurricane witch, and that's my magic moment.
Which honestly is for the best because this week is so chaotic for me that I'm like, we got no other options. So I'm also manifesting you a power.
I might have been phoning this one in. This is Demystify Magic with Molly and her dogs, because this train is leaving the station with or without you.
I was like, what episode can we rerun? All right, let's talk about Samhain.
Let's do it. So, Samhain is the Sabbath that marks the midpoint between the autumn equinox and the winter solstice. So, to me, it feels like the true marker of like, especially like living in Florida. October is very much give and take. I have to go by the Sabbats to know what season we're in because it all kind of feels the same. And it's very in and out. Like the cold fronts don't last long. You know, as the leaves are starting to change other places, we're like getting hurricanes. But to me, Samhain really is like what signifies, okay, we're at the midpoint of fall. We are starting to go towards winter.
Yeah.
And it is, as most of you might know, the holiday that inspires our current Halloween. But actually, Samhain is technically on November 1st.
Oh.
And I learned this from doing like some light research before the episode, but we start celebrating on the 31st of October because in Celtic culture, the Celtic day began and ended with the sunset.
Oh.
So when it became dark, it became November 1st.
Oh.
So,
ooh, fun fact.
Yeah, right? So we celebrate it the 31st going into the 1st for that reason. And it is also the time when the veil between our world and the spirit world is at its thinnest. So you'll notice that sort of like dreamy quality to the energy around you starting in about the first week of October. Because that veil sort of starts to gradually thin. Yeah.
To me, that always looks like my intuition feels more potent. If anyone's like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, I always feel like my gut instincts are like heightened.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I really love the fall, because then as it starts to kind of strengthen again on the tail end, you'll kind of feel that again through November.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
Halloween aside, I do think that that's kind of why the witchier of us love the fall time, because it feels, not only I feel like our own clairs heightened, but there really is that quality to the energy around us that's like things feel different.
Yeah.
And so I just fucking love Samhain. It's a really great time to turn your focus towards those on your spirit team. You know, like if you have, it's a great time for psychic development, and it's a great time for costumes.
Yeah. I'm going to be moving on Samhain. I'm moving November 1st.
Your veil has gotten real thin. Her veil and her patience.
Yeah. Let's talk about some ritual ideas. From the easy to the elaborate, from the simple to the fantastical.
Yeah. So I think your easiest ritual is going to be an altar refresh and leaving some offerings for your ancestors.
Like pumpkin bread.
Pumpkin bread, or the easiest offering of all, water. A glass of water. A candle.
A note.
A thank you. My favorite Samhain ritual is called a dumb supper. I don't know why it's called a dumb supper. It's not a stupid supper. It's a very nice supper.
I Googled it.
Molly's raising her hand. She Googled it.
The name comes from the fact that the entire meal is eaten in complete silence.
Yes, so I did know that, but does dumb mean silent?
Sometimes also called silent supper.
That would make more sense.
Let's see. Definition. Oh, definition of dumb. Verb, make dumb or unheard. Silence.
Wow.
We're learning so much on this podcast.
You learn something new every day. The world's a classroom.
It'd be different if it was called idiot supper.
Yeah.
Stupid supper.
Stupid supper.
So dumb supper.
Oh, God. Okay.
Look who's crying now.
I know. What else is new? Okay. So, as we've learned, dumb supper is a silent supper. But what's most important is it's a dinner made not just for you. It is a dinner made for the dead as well. And so you, like in your most elaborate of it, the most elaborate iterations of it, you know, it's like a dinner party. And you lay out a plate for yourself, for whoever you're with, who's there physically, or for those who are not there physically, those who are in spirit. And so it can be, you know, as many servings as you'd like. How I do it with my partner, Drew, and I, we make dinner. We always have dinner, the two of us on Samhain. Always. We did it last year. But we decided that it's our forever tradition. And we leave a small serving out for his dad, for my grandfather, and then for anyone else who has passed. And so they all get their own little bowl. Last year we made fettuccine Alfredo.
Ooh.
Delish. We haven't discussed this year's dumb supper, but we'll ask what everybody wants and let them come to a consensus and let it come to us. That's how we did it last year, at least. And we did not stay dumb through the dinner. We were talking.
Well.
And so, you know, I think that's my favorite part of the Sabbats is that you can kind of like move the goalpost a little bit. All the rules are arbitrary. Find the spirit of what inspires you in this time and apply, like take what lights that up. So what lights me up is the idea that I can share a meal with these people that I haven't shared a meal with in a long time. Yeah. And what I know about Drew's father and my grandfather is that they would not be silent at supper.
Yeah.
And so we talk and we laugh and we have a good time because that is like the spirit as well of the people that we are honoring. If you're, for example, though, like making chicken soup for your grandma and she was a stickler for the rules, maybe I would stay silent.
Yeah.
You know, but feel free to play with it a little bit. Yeah.
I think for me, because I'm going to be moving, I'm not going to do a dinner, but I did buy Jolly Ranchers in honor of my grandmother. If you've listened to our, I think like new home episode, My grandmother, before she passed, we bought our first home, and she mailed us a bunch of Jolly Ranchers and said there's like a Jewish tradition that you throw them in the door after you close before you enter the house so that your life is sweet or something. So I bought my Jolly Ranchers. So I'm going to honor Evie when I get there. They're already in my car, so I won't forget. But yeah, I think for me, it's so interesting. As you're talking about the dumb supper, I was thinking about.
Did you say dumb suffer? Yeah,
the dumb supper.
That's what they called me in algebra class.
Hey. I was thinking about. I don't know if you've ever been to a Passover Seder, but in Passover we leave an empty plate and an empty cup of wine for Elijah, who's like one of the prophets, in hopes that he'll return to the earth or whatever. I don't know, like the deep history of it. Someone will be able to tell us. Slide into our DMs. But I just kept thinking about like, oh, it's so interesting again, like how these different belief systems have very different ceremonies, and yet there's like always these little like threads that cross over of like, oh, we're like honoring someone's spirit who isn't there.
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
I especially love the tradition of leaving like wine and other liquids, you know, because it's such an accessible offering to leave.
And because they evaporate. And
exactly.
You're like, oh. But like, think of Santa. Santa, we leave milk and cookies.
It's Santa Samhain.
Santa Samhain. That's the name of my children's book. But yeah, for me, like being incredibly busy, I know we talked about my cemetery play that I do is like very much when I feel like I'm connecting to the spirit world and honoring them. But I also think for me, it's just going to be like, I'm going to be asking for their help.
Yeah.
in maintaining my sanity during that time. And also like, you know, I often call my spirit team in when I'm like cleaning a space for the first time and like cleansing a space. Like we're going to do a big deep smoke cleanse of the new house, and, you know, being really intentional while I'm cleaning the new house for like welcoming, you know, the energies that I do want in and whatever. So I feel like that's going to be a really cool Samhain ritual, like non-traditional, but like how you can work it into, you know, your life if you have like a really busy day like I do. It
would be a really great time for you to connect with the spirit of your house.
Oh, trust me, I'll be opening those Akashic records the moment I get the keys.
With the veil being so thin, it's like a great time for you to communicate with the spirit of your property, the spirit of the land, and also the spirits that might be attached to where your house is.
Yeah. Like we're cleaning our current house on the 31st and then moving to our new house the 1st. So while I'm cleaning, I'll be like saying goodbye to the house, saying goodbye to the spirits, you know, like using that as the opportunity to like get closure. And then like as I'm cleaning the new house, it'll be like greeting the new spirit of the house, like asking their preferences. Oftentimes like people are like, oh, house spirit, how do you connect with that? My thing is I always ask for their preferences around cleaning products.
Ooh.
So do they have scents that they prefer? Do they have scents they don't like? Do they have, you know, preferences on like, you know, I had an apartment that preferred like all non-tox products. And this house is like, I don't really care as long as you like spice it up every once in a while, you know, like doesn't like the same scent all the time. So that's how I connect with my house spirit. And I think it's a really simple way to do that. It's just like, you'll know because the space will feel different when you clean with the products that your house spirit approves of.
I'm excited to see what that moving process is like for you.
Me too.
On such a, from all angles, but specifically like moving on Samhain. I always really like to pay attention to like what is happening naturally in my life surrounding the Sabbats, like what naturally falls around that time, or like what things kind of come up and culminate, or whatever it is, like what comes to fruition during the different Sabbats.
Yeah.
And so I think that's interesting. A time of rebirth, death and rebirth, literally happening in your life.
Truly. Yeah.
Something else that I really do think can be made a Samhain ritual is decorating for Halloween. You know, it's like a way of honoring what Samhain always has been and what it has kind of become, and bringing an element of fun to it.
I'm getting bullied into decorating my house for Halloween.
Yeah, and not by me.
Can I tell the story?
Please.
I tell the story? The other day, I'm headed to the gym, and I walk outside, and there's like, he's probably 4 years old, kid in a Spider-Man sweatshirt, and he goes, "Hey, lady, where's your Halloween decorations?" And he was like in my driveway, and I was like, "Oh, sorry, it's still early." This is like the first week of October. And he's like, he points to the house down the road that is doing the most. And he goes, "They have theirs up."
Fair point. I'm on his side.
And I was like, "You got me." And he's like, "We're beating you. We're like halfway decorated." And I was like, "You got me there, man. You got me there." And he's like, "What's your name, lady?" And I tell him, and I was like, "What's your name?" And he goes, "It's Lane." And then he just runs off. And I was like, I never want to see that kid again. I was like, if I wasn't on my way to the gym, I would be getting in my car and driving to Home Depot and getting something because I was just like, you caught me red-handed.
I am Team Lane. And if you don't decorate your house for that little boy, we're going to be beefing.
I'll be moving my cinnamon broom to the front porch. Okay. Be moving my cinnamon broom.
Yeah, we'll see if that's enough for him.
Hey, lady.
Hey, lady.
Where's your Halloween? He sounded like a playground bully. I was like, this kid's going to kick my ass if I don't put a pumpkin out here stat.
And I'm going to let him.
I will. I was like, I don't want to see that kid again. He really spooked me.
Okay. Other things to do for Samhain. I think this is a really great time if you've been thinking about picking up a different divination tool. This is a great time to play around. If you've been wanting to delve deeper into tarot, great time to like start reading books around it, to start doing spreads, to start forming your own psychic connection with the cards.
Grab your pendulum.
This is like if there are larger questions, if there are, things that you maybe haven't wanted to delve into, like if there's something that you want to do a tarot spread about and you've been putting it off, now is a great time to do it because the answers I found are really clear in this time. It's also a really great time for like all forms of spiritual psychic development. A great easy practice if you just like want to bring the spirit of someone into October, take note of what you find to be your weakest clair.
Ooh.
And start to work on it.
Oh, we also have an episode for each of the clairs, so you could go back and listen to that. That could be your Samhain ritual.
Yes. Samhain is almost like this period of the veil thinning, it's almost like having your training wheels on. Like that added layer, literally layer, that could be clouding those clairs, it's taken away. And so be prepared to really see things clearly. I noticed like October is when my clairvoyance is at its strongest. I never feel connected to clairvoyance. Very rarely am I seeing things in real life that are tied psychically. I am my most clairvoyant around this time of year. And it's like almost disorienting. It's kind of difficult. Like I had a moment driving the other day where it finally clicked and I was like, oh, this is where I could feel the veil is thin enough that I notice a difference.
Yeah.
Like I could pinpoint the day now of when it really starts to come alive for me. And so start paying attention to that, like as you go through the month and on the back end, as we go into November, like see how it kind of builds back up. That's what I want to pay more attention to this year.
Yeah, for me, when it's this time of year, I just give myself permission to follow those little nudges. Like I said, I just felt like baking one day. Have I ever felt like baking in my entire life? No, but something about it. And I got really good bread out of it. And maybe that's the end of it, or maybe this is the YouTube video that takes off and, puts me on Oprah's couch. I don't know. Don't know. Don't care. Just going to follow that nudge.
This is the one that brings Oprah out of retirement. She saw that pumpkin bread.
If I speak it enough, it will be true.
Oprah's going to see that pumpkin bread and she's going to say, call the O Network.
We're coming back.
We're bringing it back.
Drew Barrymore's shaking in her boots.
I also know, like, we obviously, if you listen to this podcast, you know that we are all about low effort.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you know when I say that this is a really great time to bring some medium, maybe high effort rituals into your routine, that I really mean it.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because this period of time can feel really motivating, speaking about those little nudges. If you feel called to experiment with something a little bit more in depth, follow that nudge too. You know, don't let it be intimidating. If you have a really solid low effort practice, to beef it up a little bit, to do more, to add to it. And don't think that that's like signing you up for a lifetime of high effort. You know, it's it's following that motivation. It's following that fire and that spark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Even if it's just like you drink coffee in the morning, you take it to your porch, you take it outside, you take it on a walk with you and enjoy the crisp 85-degree day for Madison, the crisp, cool day for us up here.
You know, I stopped myself from texting you the other day because it was 72. And it was when I didn't have power. And I almost was like, yeah, I think I could just go home because it's only 72, so it's not that hot in the house. And I was like, I don't want her to tell me what the temperature is in Maine right now, so I'm just not.
Last night when I was texting you from the cemetery, it was 43 degrees and raining.
What I wouldn't give.
I had multiple layers on.
Ugh, I want to wear layers.
Come on up.
You're a little busy.
All right. Fair.
All right. Is there anything else that you have about Samhain?
No, just let us know your favorite Samhain rituals. We have a comment section on Spotify now, but if you are on Apple, you can go ahead and come over to our Instagram and leave us a comment over there. Whatever you want to do.
We would love to hear from you.
Yeah.
Tell me about your stupid supper.
Stupid supper.
Supper.
Stuffer. That's what people say when I cook. On that note, I'm going to go eat half a loaf of pumpkin bread. Bye. Thanks for listening to Demystify Magic with Molly and Madison. If you want to learn more about us, you can find all our links in the show notes.
We'd love to know what you think of today's episode, so drop us a review or give us a shout out on social media. And don't forget to let us know your magical moment of the week. Okay, love you. Bye.